Good afternoon. My name is Norman Alston and I'm from Kingsway International. So I know you see me on here many times talking about bullying, talking about the effects of bullying, what bullying is. But today I'm going to get a little deeper in why I follow bullying, why I try to take away bullying, why I don't want kids to feel the effects of bullying. I was in a store one day, and while I was in the store, a guy was reading the back of my shirt. And on the back of my shirt is a bullying pledge. And then on the front it says, "Why bully me?" And the guy made a statement to me, "Why bully you? Nobody gonna bully you. You're a big guy." I chuckled, I started laughing. I said, "Yeah, I understand what you're saying." But it got me to think about, why is bullying important to me? Well, back when it was COVID time and we were stuck in the house and everything, I became sick. And as I laid down sick, God started giving me this book called My Bully, My Friend. And I believe from that book is when he started downloading things in me about bullying. And I've always been that person to look out for the little guy, the guy that didn't have, the guy that was being messed with, the guy that had a disadvantage, or the female that had a disadvantage and everything. So I always looked out for that person. But because of the question that the guy asked me, I started thinking, and I started to think about my life and what has been happening in my life. So I had to go back to when I was younger, and the first time that I encountered bullying was when I went out for the baseball team and didn't make it, and people began to laugh at me. The coaches were talking, and it did something to me. It hurt me bad, where I went to my mom and she told me it would be okay. But then I started thinking about other things in my life. Like when I was in school, there was a group of guys who always messed with me, but I didn't have the power, or I didn't know what to do to them to make them stop messing with me. I can remember one time that when I fixed my lunch and I put my butter in my mashed potatoes and I had my cheeseburger, and one of the guys came over and took my cheeseburger. I was mad, I started crying, but I didn't go back to him because I was scared. And being scared, it kind of messed me up, but I knew that I couldn't defend myself against them, so I didn't even try. And when I went home, I didn't tell my mom. The reason I didn't tell my mom is because I didn't want her to feel as though I couldn't handle myself, because I knew she would get mad and she would get upset, or she would go to school, and that would make it worse on me. There was other times at school where people messed with me, but I never said nothing. But when this guy asked me this question, really made me think about the stuff that I went through, and I didn't want other people to go through it too. I can remember back in 8th grade, there was a big fight, and one of the young men pulled out a weapon, but in the midst of the fight, he dropped the weapon, and I ran, and I picked it up, and I ran. The next day, I took the weapon to school and I gave it to our vice principal. And he asked me many times, who was it? Who had the gun? But I knew I didn't want to become a snitch, so I didn't tell him. I just said, somebody dropped the gun, and I picked it up and I gave it to him. But these were the same guys who were bullying me, smacked me in the head, always talked about me. I didn't know what to do. Not until that incident happened with that gun. it gave me some of my power back, because people started recognizing who I was. And that felt good, for people to begin to talk to me and not pick on me. When I was younger, bullying, it took away my power. It took away who I really was. I think when I got kicked off the team, I didn't make the team. And my mom kissed me put a Band-Aid on me and kissed me on the heart. Something jumped in me. It made me realize that I could be somebody, but I was still scared. I was allowing those that bullied me to shut down who I was really meant to be, because I was afraid to be around them. So I couldn't be the real me because of who they was. But once I began to understand who I was, that I wasn't alone, that I had friends who really cared about me, that I had teachers who talked to me, I began to understand who I was. I began to understand that I was better than even what I thought. So when I got to high school, I began to play sports, and I was pretty good. But playing sports in high school gave me a confidence. So with that confidence, I moved on through life, and I became a police officer in the city of Camden. And I was always looking out for the little guy. I was always looking out for the ones who were hurting. And I became a coach from that. And when you coach, you get a lot of athletes. You get some athletes that are good, and then you get some athletes who aren't good. But then you get some kids who don't know who they are. And your job as a coach is to build them up. Now, you're going to have a lot of kids on the team who bully them because of the fact that they're not good and they're not in the same league that your elite players are. And they begin to mess with these little guys. But as a coach, you have to build them together. If they're being bullied or not, you still have to let them know that they're worth something. And that's what I tried to do. I tried to allow those kids who didn't have all the great talent to still feel part of the team. And a lot of them did. And I looked out today, and a lot of them are doing good. When I was sick, we talked about the COVID. When I was sick, I was able to write that book, My Bully, My Friend. And it talks about a young man who was bullied in school. But because he was bullied in one school, he wanted to get away and get a new life. He wanted to go to another school. But he thought that the same thing that was going to happen, that was happening to him at this school, was going to happen at another school. And it didn't. That school changed his life because he met people who knew who he was, who understood who he was. Out of this book, My Bully, My Friend, me and my wife created a program called Bully Stoppers. Now, this Bully Stopper program allows a kid or kids who've been being bullied to get to understand who they are. We talk about how to notify who notice bullying. We talk about the steps of bullying. We talk about trust issues. We talk about who they are as a person and what they can do. But one thing we talk about is regaining their power by telling their parents what's going on. See, a lot of our kids won't tell their parents because they think that their parents is going to feel ashamed of them. And because of a lot of our parents are working hard, 1 and 2 jobs, they really don't get to talk to their kid to find out what's going on with their kids. I urge you parents to talk to your kids. Find out what's going on with them. Ask them more than one question. Don't take a one answer that they're okay. Because a lot of them are hiding behind a mask. They won't allow you to understand what's going on if you don't. They asked me, Coach, is the young man in the book you? And I used to say no. But over the months and years, I began to think about what bullying is and why I'm so passionate about bullying. Why do I wear "Why Bully Me" shirts all the time? Because I want people to understand that bullying is not good at all. And we can defeat it together if we learn what it is. If we learn the signs, if we listen to our kids, if we listen to their feelings and look at them, don't just look at them because who they are, but look at the changes that they're making, the things that they're not saying. Most of them being bullied won't say anything because they want you to be proud of them. So what I'm saying is, listen, we have to open up and listen to our kids because a lot of them are being bullied but won't say nothing. That's where it comes to. They won't say anything. You as a parent have to ask that tough question. I had to ask myself the same thing. Norm, why is bullying important to you? And bullying is important to me because I don't want another kid, another young lady, another man to go through what I went through with being bullied. It changed the course of my life growing up as a little guy. But now I know who I am. I know what it is. And we're going to fight this thing together. There is a crisis line that they can text home 741-741. It's a crisis line, but when you're dealing with bullying, that's a crisis. So you can call that hotline or text that hotline and they'll get you to the right people who you can talk to. Another thing I want to talk about, that when I got that gun, it made me feel good because people started talking to me. So I became a different in person because now I had those same people who were bullying me, who were messing with me, were talking about me, now became my friends. They encouraged me, but when they encouraged me, I began to play sports. And I didn't get weak in the game, I got stronger in the game. I began to play football, baseball, and basketball. And I got real good because I got pushed. Because when they started cheering, they were cheering in sports, and it made me get better. But what about that kid who the accolades are now showing him a different way? He used to get bothered, but when people started cheering, now he became the one that's bullying. He became the one that's messing with other people because people stopped messing with him. And when he began to mess with other people, people started joining in. Now the people that were against him are now with him because he's bullying somebody else, because he understands that bullying is off of him. So that's that thing when we talk about hurt people, hurt other people. He's not being hurt, or she's not being hurt anymore, but now they're hurting somebody else. Listen, bullying is not going to leave, but we have to fight a way together. We have to learn to fight this together. Parents, you got to step up. You got to know what bullying is. You got to know the signs of bullying. Please, I beg you, talk to your kids. I didn't talk to my mom because I didn't want her not to be proud of me. I didn't understand who I was until I got older. And I remember the pain. And I didn't want anyone else to go through that pain. That's why I fight bullying. That's why you see me walking around with "Why bully me?" That's why you always hear me talking about bullying. We need to beat this. We need to beat it together. I can't do it by myself. I can tell you everything I know. I can listen to the kids, but I can't beat it by myself. And it's just not here in South Jersey. It's all over the world. Let's band together. Let's fight this. Bullying hurts. It may be hurting your kids and you don't even know. You gotta look at the signs. You gotta notice that they're not communicating with you the way that they used to. You gotta understand that some of them are going to their rooms when they come home all by themselves. They're not even coming to the dinner tables anymore. Because they are allowing this hurt to eat them up. And we wonder why there's so much violence in the schools. And people don't see that the violence that's happening in the school comes from the bullying. They're not connecting both of them. But it's because of the bullying that there's a lot of violence. Because a lot of kids are holding it inside and they're there and exploding. I was listening to something and they were talking about putting a pot on the table, on the furnace. And as it began to get hot and nobody attended to it, it explodes. And that's what's happening to our kids. They're starting to explode. Because they can't hold it anymore. And they don't know who to talk to. Or they don't even know what to say. And you ask them why they're looking so sad. Because they're hurting. And that hurt becomes hate. And that hate allows them to do something that they don't even know that they want to do. But they want the hurt to stop. So the only way that they know how to stop the hurt is to hurt somebody else. Or unfortunately take their own lives. We got to get to them before they get to that point. We got to get to them. So email me. bullystoppers@kingswayint.org or give me a call, 856-288-3345. We can talk about some things that we need to do or some things that we need to say to our kids. Or maybe adults. Because a lot of adults who were bullied when they were younger didn't get it taken care of like me. Now I'm starting to understand why I act the way that I act, or the feelings that I have. I was bullied, but thank God that I didn't do anything stupid. I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't become like the ones that were bullying me. Sports helped me to overcome. Let's find what you need to overcome.